So Adam, I'm excited about your new service product for the pizza industry. Would you explain what it is?
Absolutely. More than happy to. Again, my name's Adam. I'm the founder and CEO of Kia. We build a cashier in the cloud for restaurants. So if you've ever called up a restaurant before, the first thing that you hear is, "Hey, can you please wait on hold?" And, second or third or fourth caller does the same thing, and they get that same experience. And it's very frustrating. Restaurant loses 30, 40, 50% of revenue because that phone isn't being answered, and rightfully so, because there's not enough cashiers in the restaurant as it is. The restaurant industry, on top of COVID, is facing with a systemic labor problem right now. So if you're supposed to have two people or three people, you only have two, right? That's all you can afford. And so Kia comes in and sort of overtakes the phone line to automatically take simultaneous phone calls. So even if 30 calls are coming in at the same time, we're able to use our AI-enabled system that greets the guest. "Hey, thanks for calling Fermanti Brothers. Is this for pickup or delivery?" Takes the order. And then for whatever reason, if the AI cannot pick up your order, it doesn't understand you. Similar to how Siri says, "Could you say that again?" Instead of saying that, a human actually comes into the loop and finishes the order. So that's a key differentiator that we have, as opposed to folks that are just doing this from a pure AI perspective. It allows us to sort of really achieve that product market fit that our customers are looking for.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. So are you both a technology in a company and a telemarketing company, or do you do you have gig workers that are part of the app, or do you employ call centers? How does it work for? I think you had an example of a customer. How does it work for them?
Yep. So to answer your first question, we do have a number of workers. It's over 300 at the moment, and our plan over the next year is to hire over 1,000 people to help us facilitate these orders. Because there's real human situations. You might be going under a tunnel, for example, and your connectivity isn't the best. That's where a human would need to come in rather than the AI just constantly saying, "Could you repeat yourself?" and you smashing that 0 button, because that's obviously very annoying. Primarily, we house these folks in BPO centers, so proper facilities, so we can maintain PCI compliance, make sure everything is secure. We also do have a US-based team that does a lot of the day-to-day management, and that can be done from home. So we're hiring gig workers in that case.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody, does this integrate with existing POS systems, or is this a POS system as well?
No, so we're not a POS system. Learning from my food delivery days, this market is quite fragmented, as you probably know. There's Toast, there's PAR, there's all these different companies. And what we decided to do, rather than making the restaurant have like a tablet or something else that has orders sent to them, we wanted to make it native. So you don't change your POS. In fact, you don't change anything. We integrate with the current POS that you have or online ordering system. So we've got a number of partnerships that allow us to directly tie into the POS. So when you call in to place that order and the order is submitted on our behalf, we are actually, the restaurant doesn't even notice a difference. It's the exact same experience. It's as if someone was, just placing an online order and it just pops up onto the screen.
Mm-hmm. How many pizzerias are currently using your system?
Yeah, so we have over 250 customers that are using this in about 42 states right now.
So you have 250 stores or customers that have more than 250 stores?
So they have a lot more stores, but currently active are 250, a little over 250 restaurants.
You have 250 restaurants in 250 restaurants use this. And what percentage of them do you think are pizzerias?
Pizza is our sort of bread and butter at the moment, just
Hmm.
because a lot of people are calling in. With the pandemic going, we see same store sales increase by 8 to 10% with some of the large chains that we're working with,
Yep.
and I would say it contributes to about 75% of our business today,
Hmm.
and we're getting into other categories like burgers, sandwiches, and so on.
Hmm. So let's see. You do work with a number of POS systems. Can you name some of them, or is that confidential?
We can't name
No,
a
it's not confidential
couple, but
because if you have a POS, if somebody wanted your service, they're going to want to know if their POS system's compatible, and you'll say we will be compatible, but these are the ones we have now. Is that how you would
yeah,
answer a phone call?
totally. Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. The ones that I would focus on though are Olo and Onesys. Those are online ordering companies that
Hmm.
we work with. Those are the largest in the industry. They attribute to over 75,000 restaurants as a collective, and
Right.
so we're working with them.
Hmm.
Our right now the larger focus is on the QSR industry. So think
Hmm.
of the larger chains, because once you build the AI, you all of a sudden can replicate that experience times maybe several thousand locations rather than
Right.
having to build individual. Because this AI,
Hmm.
Steve, is not like Alexa or Siri. It's very custom to that particular brand. So when we
Hmm.
onboard a client, initially it takes about 2 to 3 weeks, and what goes
Hmm.
into that process is the ingesting of the menu. So we're learning all the different permutations. There could be a couple hundred to a couple thousand permutations of ways people order a pizza or order a burger, and we're learning that, right? As we learn and as we take orders, the system is getting smarter, so we're able to, you know, identify certain upsells a whole lot better. Hey, would you like a dipping cup
Hmm.
with that? Would you like the lava cakes with that? At the certain times, because timing is very important as well. You don't want to upsell someone something when maybe they've already added a bunch of the items that you would have already upsold them, right? So kind of having that context, similar to how a cashier would have that. At the moment, cashiers don't upsell at all, so that's sort of what we're doing, is adding the consistency back into the loop, right?
Hmm.
um, and then that initial 2 week period also involves training of our internal agents, right? Every agent is allocated to one particular brand, so they're not working on multiple brands. They're just focused on that particular menu. And like I said, if
Right.
an order comes through, 50% of the way, a human might need to interject, and that's where the human comes in and sort of takes over and finishes the order. It's not like a
Yeah.
traditional call center where you're repeating yourself. All the data is on the screen. Think
Hmm.
of it as passing a baton over from AI to human.
So if you're working with one brand at a time, your call center people, do they have access to the to their POS system? Are they able to talk to the customer about their order and work through the process?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
we're integrated directly into their systems, so that way,
Hmm.
uh, you know, as soon as the
Okay.
order is placed, it just boom pops right in and is on the
Hmm.
POS.
So, do you have customers that say, "I have my own call center," uh, or do you provide all the call service yourself? Is that a big part of your business as a call center, or I'll let you answer it. I
Yeah.
can visually see that you already know what I'm saying, so I
Yeah,
won't bother saying it.
there's a couple ways. Yeah, so our folks take about 20 to 30%. They'll interject as the human and take the rest of the order. Now, if I understand your question correctly, I think you're asking if current customers have a call center and if they just maybe utilize us or maybe both. Out of the last 9 out of 10 deals that we've secured that had a call center in place, they actually switched their call center out for us.
Mhm.
And primarily
Very interesting.
our technology, number one, we're
Yeah.
consistent. As a call center, it's humanly impossible. You see a churn rate of 3 months, you got a brand new staff. But to finish my point, it's humanly impossible to expect that the agent is going to constantly try to upsell. It's a really hard problem. That's why
Mhm.
cashiers today, they forget they're in the midst of all this chaos inside the
Right.
restaurant. They're washing their hands when they run to the phone. They're
Mhm.
cooking a pizza. They're answering a guest question. All of that now is gone because we handle it, and we do it in a consistent manner. Right? We're upselling using data. We're capturing all the different things that they're trying to order. We're analyzing order history, and that's a major benefit because that adds to the ticket size by another 23% on average in any deployment we go into. Not only that, I think the traditional call center model has always been charged by the minute or by the second,
Mhm.
and it's a very old school model that a lot of operators don't really like because just like you have like a lot of older companies that are trying to just make money off of maybe not really providing so much value versus us. We're actually only charging when an order is successfully placed. So, if you place an order with us, we'll charge you that 7% fee. But if you don't, and you maybe just have a question, hey, what's on your extravaganza pizza? Hey, do you guys offer gluten free? That is a question that we'll actually answer because it's built into the AI, and the guest does, or the customer doesn't pay for that. It's all sort of built in to the system. On a daily basis, a restaurant is spending 5 to 6 hours per day, right, answering these questions or taking orders. Now that is reduced to about 20 to 25 minutes for things like order corrections. So we're still handling. We're obviously not the restaurant, but it's almost like we're uh, an extension of their team in a sense. We're operating hundreds of restaurants in the cloud, and we kind of have to work in unison with one another, right? So if there's a order correction or if something is they want to add to their order, at that point we're forwarding the call back to the store, and they're getting involved with that, right? They're either adding, modifying, whatever the restaurant needs to do in real time.
How do you describe your pricing schedule? How do you make money, or how do you charge for this?
Yep. So we charge a flat fee of 7% per order, which is, I would say 1/3 of what a traditional third party aggregator would charge. We truly believe in, having that direct relationship with customers. We don't believe that aggregators are the long term savior for this market. As you guys have probably seen in the media, what a Grubhub client gets at the end of the day is very, very tiny. It's very small, and it's also, you're Grubhub's customer. You're not necessarily uh, the brand's customer at that point. And so what we're doing is really switching that around and saying, hey, look, when someone calls your restaurant, hey, thanks for calling Permanente Brothers is going to happen every single time, where you have that direct relationship. And we don't introduce ourselves as, hey, this is Kia on behalf of Permanente Brothers. It's right. It's the brand that we're sort of putting in the spotlight here. And that thesis we aim to take forward with us over the next several years in other product categories, starting with voice.
Okay, so when somebody gets set up, is that agreement to supply 7%? Uh, does that handle the upfront cost, or is there a getting started cost?
It handles everything. So we believe in the long run with these
Hmm.
partners. For as long as these businesses have been around, they've been taking phone orders,
Hmm.
and it accounts for 20, 30, 40. We have some businesses like in New York where pizzerias are taking 60% of their orders, their revenue is accounted from the phone. And
Hmm.
that's a big opportunity. So we see it as, look, really easy to get started. We'll get going in 2 to 3 weeks. Right now we have a bit of a backlog given the COVID demand that's going on around the country. But once we get started, it's at your peril to sort of decide if you want to move forward with us. And knock on wood, 8 out of 10 customers after they go through that initial pilot phase do move forward with us.
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds pretty seamless. If you're a pizza operator, do you get a rep or an emergency hotline when things go wrong? Is there somebody you can call and say, "Hey"?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we are now not 24 hours, but almost 24. We're a 22-hour-a-day business, 7 days a week, and you can imagine all kinds of craziness happens. The dishwasher's out, the oven's out, whatever might blow up, and we need to act in those sort of cases. So we do have a 24/7 hotline that you can text us on, let us know what's going on. We'll turn it off. We'll let the guests know that, hey, we're having some issues right now. Call back in 30 minutes. Truly being that extension of their team in these cases.
What does KIA stand for? Is that an acronym, or is that just a cool name that you picked out of a hat?
I was on YouTube, and you know how it goes. You're just kind of in this vortex clicking on videos, and I saw this thing called a KIA, and it's actually a species of a parrot in New Zealand. It's the smartest bird in the world, and the idea was, a parrot sort of learns from you and then speaks back, similar to what we're doing.
Oh, very good. So, do you have a logo with a parrot in it or something, or with a KIA in it?
It's in the works. Yeah,
it's in the works. Okay.
Yep.
Well, it sounds to me like you should be extremely busy right now. You have 250 locations right now that you're serving.
Yep.
When did you have your first? When did you get your first person? How long has it taken you to get up to 250?
Yeah, so it's taken us a little less than a year to get there. Yeah, and to add on to the 250, we actually have about triple that in our backlog right now. So we're just trying to, help as much as we can during this very difficult time. I mean, you can imagine what's happening in the restaurants. People are, even though they're scheduled, they're just not. At the last second, it's a no call, no show, and then on the operator's mind, who's going to answer my phone? That is the lifeblood of our business, and that's where we come in, right?
So
we're sort of that.
Okay, if you have so that means that you'll need 1,000. You'll probably need 1,000 telemarketers, phone people. Telemarketers, not the right word. You probably need. You probably need 1,000 really to get. Do you have Can you handle? You've got 1,000 stores now that could be out there, if you were ready. So right now, do you see yourself as getting to a new level where you're going to be able to grow quicker, or do you think you really only need 1,000? Maybe there's some economies of big numbers that come into play.
Yep.
How does that work? 'Cause to me, it seems like you'd have to be gearing up even higher to handle the surge. I would think of people that would need this kind of service.
Yep. So we're definitely, putting up facilities, and that's under progress, and to facilitate the demand. But I think at the core of it, just as as an emphasis on this, we are a tech company, right? The whole idea of this is to be a cashier in the cloud that is ultimately semi-automated. So, for example, as you're going through the order, maybe in that first half of the call, a human won't be necessary. At the moment, they're there. They're monitoring, even if not necessary, they're still there as sort of that backstop. But in the future, we see that sort of dwindling down. And over time, what that'll mean is that you actually need less humans to help facilitate the orders. Now, we're always going to have humans as part of sort of our company, because you go one brand and you maybe get to some semi-automation, and then you go to the next brand, and the next brand, and the next brand, and the next brand. And given that this is a $200 billion industry globally, right? And this being a cloud-based platform where we can launch stores in the US, Canada, Australia, Europe in a matter of a couple of minutes after that initial setup, we see that the market is ripe for the taking, and having those humans involved is going to be very key to our strategy.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let me run it. Let me get your opinion on this. If you have people, PMQ, I don't know how much you know about us. We go to 40,000 people with our magazine, and we have 75,000 people a month that come to our website, and we have 25,000 people that get our weekly newsletter. We've never been more connected than we are now with the pizza industry, and we've been around for over 20 years. And online ordering has always been the future, and now the future is here. I'm really glad to see it coming here. And and our goal, my goal, has always been thinking of the smaller guys that need technology, that need to compete equally in the digital business. And so several years ago, PMQ bought some different websites in order to create digital commerce for the small guy. One that we just launched was pizzavegan.com, which is the intersection of vegan and pizza, where we're asking people to link their online ordering links. We don't charge for that. We're just a neutral friend of the industry, and we're just trying to connect consumers with our pizza operators. And I was just imagining if we had an option on Pizza Vegan, the more we get people connected to it, if there was a pizza voice, if you could talk to pizzavegan.com and have them directly connected to, say, one of your 250 customers.
Interesting.
You see, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's certainly something that we can explore 100%. I mean, whether it's through a like an actual call button, a lot of times brands have a little call-in button, or they'll put the number like right on the screen for them to call. That could certainly be interesting.
So let's see. So how do most of the when you look at a store, when you analyze a store, where do most of their calls originate? Do they originate with text, voice, telephone? How do you break down some of your new people? How are these people processing orders now? What's the breakdown of how people are getting their orders in?
Yeah, so the number that we handle is actually the number that is published on Google, the yellow pages. That's the number that's forwarding to us. So let's say you call up, for example, Domino's in San Francisco. That Domino's number is actually being forwarded to us, and then we're handling all the simultaneous phone calls. So many different ways that people find us. They just Google Google the location, bam, that number comes up on Google. They hit call, and it comes to us. So this is all inbound traffic. We don't really need to market. In fact, some people memorize the numbers because they love these pizza places, or they have it on their fridge. The magnet. Okay.
So a lot of your so everything comes through the phone then.
Oh yeah, everything is inbound. We don't do anything external at the moment. We just all the calls that are coming in, which could be quite a few. On a daily basis, a typical pizzeria will get anywhere from 50 to 100 phone calls that are order related.
Okay. So you actually have San Francisco Domino's Pizza using your system?
I can neither confirm or deny that, but you're more than welcome to call.
Okay. Okay. Good point.
Yeah, we
You're
just have,
remembering that we're being recorded. Yeah. Okay.
we do have confidentiality in place with.
I used to be a Domino's franchisee in Marin County. I had a couple of stores in Marin County, and I knew the people in the area. So,
Okay.
but I won't say any more than that. Yeah, that's interesting. In 1996, I also was involved with CyberSlice, which used voice technology at the time, which was a really big thing then. But so in that case, what people did is they created an order in text or in type, and then it was converted into a voice, and then the voice called the pizzeria. So, and then they heard a robot voice actually physically ordering the pizza. So,
Oh wow.
that was backwards of how we're doing it, but it does mean that people could text orders or get an interaction at the same time. I guess using your voice technology could easily turn into a text conversation as well as a voice conversation, couldn't it?
It could, and that's one of our big requests that we get.
One of your long-term things.
Yeah.
Well, I can see right now you've got more business that you can handle right now, and it sounds really smart by really focusing on each individual customer in getting it right, in doing it right, and grow organically rather than, making a big
splash about it. Yeah, exactly. We're this is actually when you go down to its core, it's a lot more volume than what, let's say, a third-party aggregator would do for delivery, right? This contributes to, I would say, 2 or 3x of the restaurants that take phone orders, 2 or 3x more revenue than what a delivery provider would do. So a lot more orders to facilitate, which increases complexity and increases our time to actually roll out. But slowly but surely, we'll be helping quite a bit of America here very soon.
Adam, you're a monster. Thank you for coming into the pizza industry. That's great.
Really
appreciate you coming on. Good.
Thank you.